In 2019, WeWork was valued at $47 billion. $47 billion. That's a number so large it's almost meaningless. It was supposed to become the next Apple, the next Google, the next global revolution in how people work. Offices were no longer just places to sit and type. They were meant to be community hubs, social spaces, creative laboratories. A new era of work was dawning. At least that's what everyone believed. But 6 weeks later, that $47 billion valuation had evaporated. Poof. Gone. The company collapsed. The CEO was forced out. And one of the most hyped startups in history became one of the largest corporate meltdowns ever recorded. This is the story of how a charismatic founder, limitless ambition, and billions of dollars of blind investor confidence created one of the largest financial illusions of the 21st century. In this documentary, we'll explore how a simple co-working idea became a multi-billion-dollar empire, the founder whose charm captivated some of the world's richest investors, the secret strategy that inflated WeWork's value far beyond reality, the warning signs everyone ignored, and ultimately, why a company that claimed to elevate the world's consciousness couldn't even turn a profit. To understand how WeWork became a global phenomenon, we need to start with one man, Adam Neumann. Born in Israel, Neumann grew up in a culture of both discipline and entrepreneurial ambition. From an early age, he dreamed big. He was restless, inventive, and charming, sometimes too charming. In his 20s, he moved to New York with little more than ambition and a suitcase full of ideas. Before WeWork, he had dabbled in a variety of ventures. Baby trousers with knee pads, anyone. Not a huge hit, but they revealed one thing clearly: Adam Neumann could sell. And more importantly, he could sell dreams. In 2008, Neumann met Miguel McKelvey, an architect with a calm, grounded personality and strong design instincts. Together, they noticed a glaring inefficiency. Office spaces in New York were overpriced, underutilized, and uninspiring. What if, they wondered, you could redesign offices to be flexible, community-driven, human, and cool? Not just functional, but aspirational. The idea wasn't new. Co-working spaces existed elsewhere, but Neumann brought something different. A story about changing the world, and investors love a good story. When WeWork launched in 2010, the business model was simple: rent large office spaces on long-term leases, renovate them to be visually striking, divide them into smaller offices, and rent those spaces out on short-term contracts at higher prices. Essentially, office space arbitrage. But Neumann didn't sell it that way. He told investors, this isn't real estate, this is technology. He claimed WeWork was a platform connecting people, fostering creativity, shaping the future of work. And that narrative, more than the buildings themselves, multiplied the valuation overnight. Investors didn't want a real estate company. They wanted the next unicorn, the next Facebook, the next disruption. And Neumann gave them exactly that. Expansion was explosive. New York, San Francisco, London, Shanghai, Berlin, dozens of cities every year. Glass walls, free beer, yoga rooms, plants everywhere. The spaces felt like the future. Employees believed in the mission. Members loved the vibe. Investors poured billions. At the center was Neumann, tall, charismatic, barefoot in meetings, selling a dream too big to doubt. By 2016, WeWork was one of the fastest growing companies in the world. By 2018, it was worth billions. By 2019, $47 billion. But beneath the slogans and sleek offices, trouble was brewing. WeWork had a problem, a huge one. The company was hemorrhaging cash at a staggering rate. For every dollar WeWork earned, it was spending too. The rapid expansion strategy meant that losses were baked into every deal, every lease, every new office. Growth was prioritized over sustainability, but Neumann didn't slow down. He sped up. New ventures were launched: Where Live, a communal living concept; WeGrow, a school, wave pools, gyms, and even a surfing company. And somewhere in the back of his mind, WeBank, a financial institution for WeWork members. These weren't businesses in the traditional sense. They were distractions, statements, pieces of a larger-than-life narrative. Each venture added glamour, but not profit. SoftBank's Masayoshi Son, perhaps the company's most loyal believer, encouraged Neumann to dream bigger, to be even crazier. With billions flowing from SoftBank, the truth about profitability remained hidden, buried beneath hype, PR, and ambition. Every new office meant more long-term leases, often 10, 15 years. Members could leave anytime. The financial structure was a ticking time bomb, and nobody wanted to look too closely. Then came the IPO, the moment when the world would finally see what was really happening. In 2019, WeWork filed to go public, and the numbers were catastrophic. Billions in losses, massive debt, conflicts of interest. Neumann had buildings leased to the company, and he had trademarked the word "we," charging the company for its use. The board was weak, with little power to rein in the CEO. Cash burn was extreme. Growth projections were unrealistic. Investors panicked. The media pounced. Employees' faith faltered. Within weeks, the $47 billion valuation evaporated. The company that had been celebrated as the future of work became a cautionary tale. Adam Neumann was ousted. SoftBank stepped in with a massive bailout. Thousands of jobs vanished. Projects were cancelled, and the empire crumbled. The story of WeWork is a modern parable, a tale of charisma, ambition, and the seductive power of storytelling, and a warning of what happens when reality finally catches up. After the IPO disaster, WeWork tried to survive. New leadership took over. Offices were closed. Costs were slashed. The company pivoted back to its core renting office spaces. The grand vision of changing the world through design, community, and tech branding faded. Today, WeWork exists, but its shadow of its former self. Its valuation has plummeted over 90%. Many ambitions abandoned, and the founder lives comfortably off his personal payout. Lessons from this saga are clear. Vision is not a business model. A compelling story may attract attention, but numbers eventually matter. Growth without profitability is dangerous. Rapid expansion hides flaws temporarily. Investors can be wrong. Even the wealthiest and smartest can be swept away by hype. Leadership matters more than charisma. A leader can inspire, but unchecked power can destroy. Rebranding is not magic. Calling a real estate company tech doesn't create value. WeWork reminds us of the danger of unchecked ambition and the importance of fundamentals. Adam Neumann's charisma was both the engine and the Achilles heel as WeWork. People weren't just investing in a company, they were investing in a personality. He inspired employees to believe in something larger than themselves, promising not just jobs but a purpose, a chance to reshape how the world works. Yet charisma has a dark side. It can blind people to reality. Beneath the polished offices, free beer, and yoga rooms, the company was financially unstable. Leases stretched for years, but income from members was short-term and flexible. The numbers never added up. WeWork side ventures, We Grow, We're Live, even the surfboards, distracted from the core business. They were statements of ambition rather than strategic growth. Investors, dazzled by vision and media coverage, rarely questioned the fundamentals. SoftBank's massive capital injections masked the problems, creating an illusion of success. By the IPO, all cracks were exposed. Billions in losses, conflicts of interest, and extreme cash burn revealed the company's fragility. Investors panicked, employees lost faith, and the media turned the story into a cautionary tale about unchecked ambition and hubris. The IPO collapse was dramatic. Within weeks, WeWork went from a $47 billion unicorn to a company struggling to survive. Headlines screamed about Neumann's lavish lifestyle, bizarre management choices, and the absurdity of some of the side ventures. Thousands of employees lost jobs, projects were cancelled, dreams shattered, and yet WeWork did not disappear entirely. The company survived, but the culture of relentless expansion and hype was gone. Today, WeWork operates as a more conventional real estate business. The focus is on sustainability, cost control, and long-term contracts. Ambitions like elevating global consciousness have faded, replaced by the pragmatic realities of leasing office space. The story of WeWork is a modern parable about vision, risk, and the limits of charisma. It reminds entrepreneurs and investors alike that numbers always matter, and that stories, no matter how compelling, cannot replace solid fundamentals. WeWork also offers lessons in human behavior and investor psychology. People are drawn to grand narratives, charismatic leaders, and the allure of being part of something revolutionary. But these same elements can obscure poor business practices. SoftBank, for example, invested billions into a company that had never been profitable. The bet wasn't on the balance sheet, it was on the dream. Investors often follow momentum, fear of missing out, and the excitement of disruption. WeWork is a cautionary example of what happens when emotion outweighs rational analysis. Meanwhile, employees believed in a culture that promised meaning and community, only to face layoffs and uncertainty when reality hit. The human cost of hype-driven businesses is often overlooked in headlines, but it is very real. WeWork's story is a blend of drama, ambition, and caution, a reminder that vision without discipline is dangerous, and even the smartest people can be seduced by the power of a compelling story. Ultimately, WeWork's rise and fall is a story about the intersection of ambition, innovation, and reality. It's about how a simple idea, flexible office space, can become a global empire through storytelling and charisma. It's about how unchecked expansion, side ventures, and investor enthusiasm can hide fundamental flaws. And it's about how reality eventually catches up with even the most dazzling narrative. For every aspiring entrepreneur, WeWork offers lessons. Dream big, but measure twice and cut once. Prioritize profitability alongside vision. Question assumptions. And remember that investors, no matter how wealthy, can make mistakes. As for the employees and members caught in the whirlwind, the story is a reminder: culture and hype can inspire, but they cannot replace sustainable business practices. Behind every flashy headline, there are real consequences for real people. And for those watching, WeWork is a cautionary tale. Ambition is powerful, but without discipline and reality as your guide, it can become a spectacular illusion. Adam Neumann's personality was magnetic. His ideas were ambitious, his presentations theatrical. Meetings often felt more like motivational talks than strategy sessions. Employees described him as visionary, inspiring, and occasionally unpredictable, barefoot in offices, citing mystical insights about the future of work. Neumann wasn't just selling office space, he was selling identity, a chance to belong to something transformative. But the problem was that identity, while powerful, doesn't pay bills. The company's lease obligations, salaries, and expansion costs were real, tangible, and mounting faster than revenue could keep up. Miguel McKelvey, co-founder, played a stabilizing role, calm, analytical, and design-focused. He was often the counterbalance to Neumann's larger-than-life tendencies, but even his grounded approach couldn't stop the momentum of hypergrowth. The dynamic between Neumann's charisma and McKelvey's pragmatism created a culture both exhilarating and volatile, perfect for rapid expansion, terrible for long-term stability. As WeWork grew, the culture became legendary. Offices featured free beer, foosball tables, and meditation rooms. Social events were extravagant, blending work and lifestyle. Members and employees were encouraged to participate in a community that was marketed as innovative, transformational, and even spiritual. Yet behind the parties and Instagram-worthy spaces, the business model strained. Short-term membership fees couldn't cover the cost of long-term leases. Expenses ballooned with each new city. Expansion was celebrated as vision, but financial reality lagged far behind. Investors cheered the spectacle. Media outlets wrote glowing stories about WeWork's rapid growth and unconventional leadership. Enthusiasm often outweighed scrutiny, creating a bubble fueled by optimism, narrative, and desire to be part of the next unicorn. The tension between hype and reality was growing, though few acknowledged it publicly. Internally, the cracks were visible, yet externally, the company looked unstoppable. By 2017, WeWork had offices in dozens of cities worldwide: New York, London, Shanghai, San Francisco, Each location showcased sleek design, community events, and a sense of belonging. Investors saw global domination. Employees saw a cultural phenomenon. The media saw a tech unicorn. But expansion was expensive. Long-term leases meant that each empty desk or cancelled membership increased financial pressure. Every additional city required capital, management, and maintenance. Risk multiplied with growth. Neumann and his team continued to push boundaries. Side projects like WeGrow and WeLive were marketed as extensions of WeWork's vision, but they drained resources. The narrative sold innovation, but profitability remained elusive. The company was simultaneously admired and misunderstood. Growth was celebrated, yet the foundation was unstable. Every step forward brought excitement and increased peril. SoftBank's investments were a double-edged sword. Billions poured in, allowing WeWork to expand faster than it could sustainably manage. Masayoshi Son famously encouraged Neumann to be even crazier, embracing risk as a virtue. These funds disguised the company's vulnerabilities. As leases and expenses mounted, investors saw only the narrative of disruption and innovation. The reality, a business burning through cash at an unsustainable rate, reliant on constant infusions of capital. The IPO was meant to validate the story. Instead, it revealed financial fragility, conflicts of interest, and operational weaknesses. The $47 billion valuation collapsed almost overnight. Billions evaporated. Jobs disappeared. The company was forced to reinvent itself under new leadership. WeWork's tale became emblematic of startup culture, a mix of inspiration, risk, and caution. It's a reminder that while vision and ambition drive innovation, the numbers always speak the final truth. While the world watched WeWork's rapid expansion, stories emerged from inside the company that bordered on legend. Employees described a culture that encouraged creativity, but also blurred boundaries. Late-night meetings, spontaneous retreats, and even unconventional perks, like unlimited snacks and beer, created a sense of excitement. Yet, this culture came at cost. Work-life balance was often sacrificed. Some employees thrived in the energetic environment, while others felt drained and overwhelmed. Ambition and charisma can inspire, but they can also push people to extremes. The narrative sold a community, a movement, a revolution in how work should feel. But behind the Instagram posts and glowing headlines, the company was a high-stakes experiment with human and financial consequences. WeWork's story wasn't just about office space. It was about psychology, persuasion, and the power of storytelling in business. Investors, of course, played a crucial role. They weren't just funding a business, they were buying into a vision. SoftBank's Masayoshi Son famously placed enormous trust in Neumann, believing that his ambition justified almost any risk. Other investors followed suit, captivated by the promise of the next global phenomenon. They overlooked warning signs, ignored red flags, and trusted the charisma of a single man. Blind faith in a narrative can be intoxicating and dangerous. The lesson here is timeless. Even the wealthiest, most experienced investors can be swayed by charm, hype, and the allure of being part of something revolutionary. Numbers matter, fundamentals matter, but sometimes people get lost in the story. WeWork's saga illustrates how psychology intersects with finance, creating bubbles that can grow bigger than reality would allow. By the time the IPO filing occurred in 2019, the world finally saw the numbers. The reality was stark: massive losses, debt piling up, and conflicts of interest everywhere. Neumann had leased buildings to the company, trademarked words, and exercised control over decisions without meaningful oversight. The media had a field day. Headlines criticized extravagance, mismanagement, and hubris. Employees faced uncertainty. Investors panicked. Within weeks, the $47 billion valuation collapsed. Neumann was ousted. SoftBank intervened to stabilize operations. Thousands of jobs were affected. Ambitious side projects were cancelled. The company's image was forever changed. Yet, in spite of this, WeWork survived. It shifted focus to core operations, aiming for sustainability rather than spectacle. The company that once promised to elevate the world's consciousness now had a much more grounded reality. The collapse of WeWork offers lessons that resonate far beyond office space. Vision is not a business model. A compelling story can attract attention, but without revenue and profits, it will eventually crumble. Growth without profitability is dangerous. Scaling rapidly can hide flaws temporarily, but it cannot eliminate them. Investors can be blinded by hype. Even the smartest can misjudge an opportunity when narrative overshadows numbers. Leadership charisma has limits. A magnetic leader can inspire and motivate, but unchecked, it can lead to collapse. Rebranding is not a substitute for fundamentals. Calling a traditional business tech doesn't create inherent value. These lessons highlight how ambition, storytelling, and psychology intertwine with finance, a cautionary tale for entrepreneurs, investors, and employees alike. Even after the collapse, WeWork remained a lesson in ambition and human behavior. The company survived as a smaller, more grounded operation, but the cultural myth of Neumann's vision persisted in the business world. Entrepreneurs still cite WeWork as inspiration, investors still study its rise and fall, and journalists continue to dissect its drama. The story reminds us that ambition without discipline can be intoxicating. Vision without numbers can be dangerous. Charisma without accountability can be catastrophic. Every office, every investor, every employee was part of a grand experiment, a real-time case study in business psychology, risk, and the consequences of unchecked growth. And yet, there's a strange beauty to it. The energy, creativity, and hope that Neumann inspired were real, even if the financial reality could not sustain them. The story of WeWork is not just a cautionary tale, it's a human story, full of dreams, failures, and lessons for anyone chasing something bigger than themselves. Ultimately, WeWork's saga is a mirror reflecting both the promise and peril of the modern startup world. It shows the power of narrative, the seduction of hype, and the fragility of unchecked ambition. It highlights the responsibility of investors, the consequences for employees, and the limits of leadership built on personality rather than fundamentals. For those watching, the takeaway is simple. Question narratives, look beyond the hype, and remember that real businesses are built on sustainable practices, not stories alone. WeWork reminds us that while vision can inspire, it must be anchored in reality. While ambition can drive growth, it must be balanced with discipline. And while charisma can attract followers, it cannot replace strategy, accountability, and sound financial management. The rise and fall of WeWork is a modern epic, a story of dreams, deception, daring, and lessons that will echo through the business world for decades.